House of Representatives voted almost unanimously, 427-1, to pass the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Ahead of the vote, Speaker Johnson told the reporters he would vote in favor of the bill despite concerns about the bill's language. Now, the concerns, and I spoke with him about this over the weekend, was they want to make sure that the victims are protected. And there's also concern about some of the files related to the transcripts of the grand jury investigation, and that they just want to make sure that the process is protected, because this is in some ways setting precedent. But again, I think this is reflective of where the American people are in terms of their trust of government. And I do believe that we've got to be at a place where we have to, until we can restore trust in our government, which there's almost zero, there has to be maximum transparency, but there has to be protection for the victims as well. The bill now heads to the Senate, which is, we're going to see if they're going to take up the bill and what they'll do with it. So joining me now to talk about this and a bit more is Senator Roger Marshall of Kansas. He serves on several committees, including the Budget Committee and the Finance Committee. Dr. Marshall, welcome back to Washington Watch. Thanks so much for joining us.
Tony, it's always great to be with you.
Hey, before we get into the Epstein files, Senator, we were just talking in the last segment about the health care debate and the vote to extend these subsidies. But the bigger issue for us is making sure that Hyde provisions protect taxpayers from being drug into the abortion business. What's the latest?
Well, Tony, we got your back on this one. Whatever we do, if we do anything, we are going to use the Hyde language, the Hyde Amendment language, to protect any type of federal dollars. When the ACA was written, they didn't do a good job of protecting those dollars. So if we take some of that money from the big rich insurance companies and give them to people out there, hardworking Americans, we're going to make sure that it has life protections as well as protections from transgender surgeries, those types of things. So we hear you loud and clear. We hear your listeners loud and clear, and we're going to make sure that we protect the sanctity of life.
And Dr. Marshall, there's also some, and I didn't mention this in the intro, but those who watch the program frequently know that you're on the program a lot. You are a medical doctor. You've delivered over 5,000 babies. There's some of you working to provide an alternative to the failed ACA, the Obamacare health care, something that will actually work, that takes into consideration the dynamic aspects of the private healthcare system.
Right, Tony. To me, the number one thing we need to do with the ACA is get rid of the fraud. There's probably 25 or 50 billion dollars of fraud going in there. There's some simple principles that we can attach to that. And the next thing we need to do is we're giving $150 billion a year to very successful insurance companies, monopolies in many cases. Let's take some of that money and put it in the hands of consumers out there. And if they want to choose a health ministry plan, if they want to choose an association healthcare plan, then they can do that as well, as long as it's Hyde protected as well. So I think that's the principles. And the other principle we'll be using is transparency, that we want to require hospitals, surgery centers, imaging centers to put a price tag on everything that they do before you have the procedure.
I mean, Senator Marshall, they're kind of like school choice, just giving the end user more of a choice in the process?
Yeah, you got it. I mean, it's a founding principle of our founding fathers, is to let the hardworking American people decide what's best for them, where they want to go to church, where they wanted their children to go to school, where to get their health care done, and how to pay for it as well. What we know is that Obamacare was a miserable failure, that premiums have doubled. The average deductible for a family now, a family of four, is around $7,000 to $9,000 a year, making essentially health care unaffordable for many, many Americans.
All right, Senator, I want to turn back to the Epstein files. It's worth noting that there is an ongoing bipartisan investigation into the Epstein crimes, and that it's already produced tens of thousands of pages of documents from the DOJ and from the Epstein estate. And while the Democrats may have had, may not have had pure intentions, I mean, I think there's some political motivation here. I mean, they could have released this during the Biden administration, but they didn't. They've been calling for it. But isn't it a good practice, given the low level of trust that the American people have in government, for transparency?
Yeah, Tony, absolutely. Since day number one, since I first heard of this, I've called for release of everything. And I mean everything. Of course, we want to protect the innocent, protect the victims. But, you know, beyond being a senator, I'm a father and a grandfather of a daughter and grandchildren. And I think when you saw how these young ladies were sexually abused, we know that they can never get that part of their life back. And some have committed suicide. Others are traumatized for life, and all the therapy in the world, it's hard to put it all back together again. So we need to connect the dots here, hold the people accountable, and certainly let the American people know as well. So I certainly, like I said, from day number one, I call on release of everything. And I mean everything beyond something to identify the victims.
And that the House Speaker made comments that the Senate needs to change the bill to increase the protection for the victims because that's not in the current language. What do you see happening in the Senate? Is the Senate going to take this up?
Yeah, Tony, we're definitely going to take it up. We're going to see if we can make some technical changes, like you mentioned here, that we can give better protections to the victims, make sure it follows the Constitution, and make sure everything's released right now. The way I read this resolution right now, it says that if there's someone under investigation, that they don't have to release that part. I'm ready to rip the Band-Aid off. I just want it all out there. So we are taking it up. We'll see if we can make a couple easy technical changes to improve it and get everything out there.
So the Senator Thune and the leadership, they're committed to moving forward with the vote?
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know whether it'll be tonight or tomorrow. Things in the Senate move a little slowly, and that's what we're supposed to do. You know, the House is the coffee cup, and we're the saucer. Let's make sure we get this right. And again, my principles are: let's make sure we protect the victims, and number two, make sure we get everything out there that we can. So maybe we can make a couple short tweaks tonight and maybe vote on it either later tonight or in the morning.
Very good. Senator Roger Marshall, always great to see you, my friend. Thanks so much for taking time to join us today.
Thank you, Tony. Great to be with you.